Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol blended Scotch whiskies from Diageo, the parent company. This is White Horse, fine old blended Scotch whiskey, introduced in 1890. One of the old legendary brands. I found this in Kenner, Louisiana. It was like $36 for this big bottle. So that is not exactly a low-end brand because I can find Scotch for less than $20 a bottle for a jug like this. It's nasty, but it's dodgy, they call it in England. But this stuff is probably like a lower end of premium, the lower end of premium. Okay, but it's Diageo bought it. I think it was one of those Seagram's brands that Diageo picked up when Seagram's decided to close up their operations 2000, the year 2000. All right, so anyway, for years I had people asking me, when are you going to review White Horse? And I said, I can't find it. But I finally found it. And I would buy it again, actually. I would buy it again. I'd rather buy a regular size bottle than a jug. But it's the kind of thing that it's pretty nice and you don't really get sick of drinking it. You know, it's not off-putting. It's not amazing. It's not something you got to buy. You know, I heard about it. And when I saw it, you know, people had been asking me about it. So when I saw it over there at Star, I wanted to pick it up. So they show up. This little drawing here is a coach with horses and like a stagecoach, and it has something to do with stagecoaches. If you read the website, I'm going to show you. The competitor is a product that did not last on the market very long. It was not intended to be on the market very long. It's called Johnnie Walker, A Song of Fire. It's got this wrap label, like a shrink wrap label. It's really just a clear glass bottle. But the story with this one, it was introduced in 2019 in collaboration with HBO, home box office, as a television series promotional. And they also had the Song of Ice and something like White Walker. And so I think even more, but I didn't pay much attention to it because I wasn't interested in the television series. And secondly, I didn't want to pay $40. Hold on, I tripped a little bit. Hold on. But I was shopping at Star one day, about 2 years ago, and they had it for $14.99. Then I got interested, you see. Okay, so when they were selling it, and it's still sold most places, Total Wine's got it listed right now, $41.99. So when they were selling it around $40, I had no interest in it. When they had it on discount for $14.99, when obviously they were getting ready to get rid of it, then I got interested. I bought this one and the Song of Ice, which will be the next blended Scotch that I'm going to try to bring in next year if time permits, but it could be trouble getting that in. All right, I got so much other stuff to look at. Here it is. It's kind of a amber down almost to gold, but not quite. This is just straight amber honey. This is the Song of Fire and the White Horse. Arnold says, you aren't missing a thing. No. All right. Let's look at the website. There is no website for Song of Fire because once they discontinued it, they took that all that, you know, they took all that down. No use keeping a website up for it. Although I'll give credit to Crown Royal, they keep all their stuff archived as they call it retired whiskeys. That's pretty helpful. So here it is, Diageo's Bar Academy. This is a website. It's actually a program where you can go to conferences. It's like an online slash in-person training where they train people to get a certificate. I guess being a bartender, but that's why they have this login and registration here, because you do have to pay for it. But they have a free part here, just different brands where they give like a little preview. And so one of the brands they're showing is Whitehorse, the famous Edinburgh Inn, a Scottish brand with a rich history. And they're showing James Logan Mackey. And I think there is Mackey Scotch whiskey, also a brand called Mackey, but that's not what we're dealing with now, but I think it's related. But in 1890, he saw the potential blended whiskey on the international market. I don't know why, because it was like 1,000 already, but he proudly introduced Whitehorse to the world. And it's still around. There's a regular bottle, nice looking bottle. The Whitehorse icon stands for loyalty and virility. The heart of this flavor is Lagavulin, a single malt whiskey from Islay in the Hebrides. So their flavor is mainly coming from Lagavulin. There's a little video you can watch about making a cocktail. Flavor profile. A full-bodied peaty flavor. I didn't really notice that, and a warm aftertaste. This whiskey leaves hints of oak, smoke, and toffee on the nose, as a finish that is long and slightly complex, with notes of oak, spices, and creamy vanilla. And then their main focus on this website is the bar, so it's cocktails, sparkling apple juice, and Cavalinho. I know nothing about that. Savor the smooth and smoky taste of Whitehorse served neat. Well, I am going to have it neat. So they have many brands on this website, but we're not going to look at that right now because we're not dealing with those. So they acknowledge it. Diageo has other brands that they try to pretend that they don't own, and some of which they sold off to Sazerac about 6 years ago. So it's funny because Diageo bought a bunch of stuff from Seagram's, and then they decided it was too low end, so they sold it to Sazerac, and they were like, "We're happy with that, boy." I was a little surprised about Seagram's VO because that's like a major brand, and I guess Sazerac said to themselves, they want to sell Seagram's VO. Ain't no way we're passing that up. And now they're always touting it, bragging on it. And you could still get the VO Gold. VO Gold. I can get that for cheaper than 5-6 years ago. The price is going down. And I remember writing an email to Diageo, and they told me, well, unfortunately, we're discontinuing Seagram's VO Gold, not the VO Gold, the 8-year age. But now looks like Sazerac said, well, we bought it and it ain't going away. Okay, but let's get back to this one here. I think all my Buchanan's is gone. I had Buchanan's. It's a famous one, but I think it's all gone now. It's a shame because that's a dynamite product. But I can buy more. Buy the Buchanan's Extra, the one that's aged longer. Okay, smells like white bread. Smoke, not any. White bread and honey. Smoke, no. Smoke, no. Not seeing that. So where's the Lagavulin? Can I buy Lagavulin here? Yeah, I can buy it. Local store has it. This has a real creamy, honey, sugary, slightly peaty, and I mean really slightly peaty, classic blended Scotch flavor. It's like a very typical mid-level blended Scotch, meaning it tastes good. Is it amazing? No. That's why it's $36 for this huge jug. Is it bad? Not in any way. It's just regular, which no surprise. Let's go over here. Same. Sara Lee honey top bread. I mean, they're kind of the same. So White Horse touts Lagavulin. Oh, the character from Lagavulin, the smoke. I'm like, mostly it's sugar water. Over here, a Song of Fire. I keep saying Tale of Fire. A Song of Fire. They're talking about the peated malt from Colilla lends subtle smoke. I would say that the peated malt from Colilla lends no smoke. I mean, they're saying they use Colilla in it, and I believe it. They might have used 1 drop per barrel, though. Like 1 little dropper per drop. There it is. Colilla is in it. Over here, Lagavulin, 1 little drop per barrel. There you go, Lagavulin. Are these mostly grain whiskey? Yeah, probably 80%. I'm not saying that's bad. It just doesn't give a lot of flavor. It's just like, that's why you get all this bread. And maybe cornbread. I'm trying. I'm really trying. But if there is any peaty smokiness, it's a 1%. It's 99% not that way. Same. And let's be honest. Let's be realistic. These are both probably coming from the same blending facility, meaning Johnnie Walker. Johnnie Walker, Buchanan's, White Horse, VAT 69. I think there's one called Red and White. Black and White. I'm sorry, Black and White. They probably come from the same blending facility. And I'm not saying that it's a negative, but they have a common house style. Does the Buchanan's and the Johnnie Walker, and I used to get Scoresby, but that was when it was under Diageo. I got that. Are they vastly different one from another? They're not. They're not that different. They're vastly the same. So should you avoid them? No, you shouldn't avoid them. But I think you probably shouldn't expect a whole lot of differentiation. It's kind of repetitive, but the quality's there. Hi, has winter arrived in the United States? Herbie, you're in India. Herbie, fall has barely arrived. Autumn is just creeping in. We got the slightest little taste of autumn right here. I have my window open and I'm getting a north breeze. I've been getting that north breeze for about a week. So it's like we're in a very small transition. It's still getting hot, 90 degrees Fahrenheit during the afternoon. But you could feel just a twinkle of fall. Now, if you live in Kansas or Iowa, it's probably a lot more prominent. Dry fall. Hello, guys. This is not overly acerbic. NOA. Arnold says, is the Song of Fire the worst Johnnie Walker you've tried? Worst Johnnie Walker? It's probably the worst in the sense that it's not living up to what they're talking about on the label. I mean, the flavor's fine, but I mean, like I say, a lot of whiskeys are fine. Big deal, big deal. But It's just got this big promotion with a holographic. You can see that like glowing label with the light hits it and all this fancy pants stuff. And then the flavor's sort of bland. So maybe, yeah, maybe. So is it, I mean, I would rather drink Red Label, and that's $23, not no $40. Double Black, easily, I would prefer that. Gold Label Reserve, I couldn't tell them apart. I got them mixed up. So that's the previous video. I couldn't tell them apart. But I always said, you can go check me on that. I always said Gold Label Reserve to me was kind of bland, but it tastes good, but it's not. Why would you pay $65? Are you crazy? Um, Double, yeah, yeah. So I guess if you want to use the word worst, but I would say something like the least exciting one. Damn sure haven't gotten autumn down here in Texas, but cooler. Yeah, so it's just a tad. The grass is not growing as fast. Seeing leaves falling. That's been going on over a month. I gotta go mow the lawn though today. I gotta cut the grass because it's looking kind of raggedy, But in this part of Louisiana, I can't speak for Shreveport because they're more like continental climate. I think Shreveport's climate is more in common with Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Lawrence, Kansas than here. But we get a very long summer, stretching from around May 15th to at least September 15th, if not longer. And it's just very humid and very hot. And then we get this little twinkle of fall. But then it'll just flip to cold. It'll just be cold, damp, rainy, cold, damp, rainy, unpleasant. And that'll go on, December, January, February. And it's not really, now people in Minnesota would say cold. It's only 41 degrees. What's wrong with you people? It's not the temperature, it's the dampness that makes it feel cold. And yes, a dry cold is a lot different than a wet cold, a damp cold. Just like dry heat is a lot different than wet heat, damp heat, humid heat. But then we'll get a little springtime. It'll just be a little tease of that. And then it's straight into summer, So we really only have two main seasons here, summer and winter. Summer, winter. There's a little interim of spring and a little interim of autumn, but it's narrow because we're semi-tropical, so we humid subtropical, which you basically feel like you're in a shower room all the time, in a bathroom with the steam, which I can assure you is not pleasant in either the heat or the cold, especially the cold. Unless you think getting splashed with water and being in a freezer is pleasant or a cooler is pleasant, I can assure you it is not. I mean, when we went to 12 degrees in January, it was like a state emergency. But I was tracking it. It only stayed 12 degrees for like 2 hours. So it bottomed out 12 degrees, which is not much of, it's very cold for Louisiana. I mean, not for Minnesota. That's like normal. But and then it was like 13, 14, and then it went high quick. Like it went down to 12, and then it started climbing. Oh, and it kept climbing, and it just stayed basically cool to warm until the summer. So it just was a little trough, and then didn't stay cold. All right. When it was snowing in New Orleans, it was raining on Baffin Island. Oh, in Canada, yeah, it's kind of those little abnormalities. Abnormalities. I'll call the brands, but honestly, they're so close that I really should call it a tie because so clearly, very clearly, the White Horse is the winner because, like I said, 35.99 or 36. I don't know. I think it was 35.99 for this jug bottle. $40 for this regular bottle. You've gained or lost nothing between the two. So then you must only focus on price because what other consideration is there? So I'm going to say that this is the White Horse, but I don't have any confidence in that. But I got it. I'll give it a win. I'll say it's a win. The last one was a loss. But so I went up against Johnnie Walker Red Label, got it right, but you never confuse those two. And I did the double black, got that right, never confuse those two. Gold Label Reserve, I was worried about that before I went on air. Panned out because it turned out to be bad. So that was 2 wins, 1 loss. And then this one, technically a win, but in reality, really a tie, but we'll call it a win. But, the video is going to stay posted so you know what the real answer is. But so 3 wins and 1 loss, but all things considered, taking that into consideration. Now, I think that's it for Diageo. I do not think I have any other Diageo Scotch whiskeys at the moment. But I've got a lot of stuff. I've got some well-known Dewar's, Valentine, even Clan McGregor's well-known. It's cheap, but it's well-known. A lot of people buy it. I mean, every store has got it stocked to the hilt. They're not going to stock it if it's a bad seller. Got news for you. But and I've got some really strange off-the-wall products like Glen. What is that thing, Glen? You'll see it. It's all right, actually. It's actually all right, and I think it will compete very well against the Song of Fire, A Song of Fire. And I bought that product for $9.99. That was like the last week. That was the last week in American history when you could get a full-size bottle of blended Scotch for $9.99. And then the JB inflation went into effect and everything went skyrocketed. But I did buy it for $9.99, and I saw that King Edward for $9.99. And I said, I'll go back and buy the King Edward next week. But then the inflation kicked in 2021. 2021, 22. And then the King Edward was like 15. And I was like, nah. But they were all $9.99. Glenloggie, that's what it is. Glenloggie, yeah. But it's from some obscure private, independent bottler. Probably made by some major company, but it actually tastes pretty good. And I wouldn't be shocked if it defeated the Song of Fire. Song of Fire it's really a song of cable television is what it is. All right. Let's see. Herbie says, I am in Manali now. It's 7 degrees Celsius here. So that's like cold. But I don't think India gets too cold. They more like get cool. Well, I mean, if you're close to the Himalayas, if you're down there by heading toward Sri Lanka, I guess it's hot all the time, right? Okay, anyway, so that's it. Not much to say. White Horse wins, loses. It obviously wins because it's a good deal cheaper, and it's no worse. No way it's worse. No way. Is White Horse better than A Song of Fire? No, 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 no. But is it worse? Absolutely. No way it's worse. So marketing, television tie-ins, series tie-ins. You get it. Is it going to be the same thing with the Song of Ice? Yeah, probably. So if you didn't watch them, I wouldn't be upset because it's going to be that same old routine. All right, well, y'all take care and get ready for the Glenn Logie versus A Song of Fire, which should be Saturday, I think, because I'm counting this one for Friday because we got to do that Fandango Friday tomorrow evening. And I don't think I need to be doing any more liquor. All right, well, y'all take care. Bye-bye.